Good morning and half a day. The Committee on General Government Operation and Appropriations now called to order. Today is Friday, July 19, and the time now is 9:05. In compliance with the open government law, the notice for this public hearing were posted on the Guam Public Notice Portal, GTA Channel 21, Docomo Channel 117, and disseminated via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets on Thursday, July 12 and July 17. Ladies and gentlemen, we have several bills to hear today, this morning. We have Bill 295-37, would be the first one. It was initially identified as the third one, but it's going to be moved up to the first, and then followed by Bill 880. That's for by Senator Blas, and then followed by Bill 1110, correction 110-37, and then final with Bill 321 for Simon Sanchez. And with that, Bill 295-37, introduced by Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, co-sponsored by Senator Chris Barnett, Senator Sabina Perez, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Dwayne Snickles, myself, Senator Snogston, Senator Roy Canata, and Senator Amanda Shelton. An act to amend Section 8104A5A and 8104A5B, renumber Section 8104A5C as 8104A5D, and to adding Section 8104A5C, all of Chapter 8, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to modernizing public hearing notice requirements by authorizing the posting of public notice in locally licensed electronic newspaper and websites. Physical note was requested on May 7 and disseminated on May 8 to all the senators. Those participating on behalf of Bill 295-37 are invited to the panel. And we have Jay Janet. Are you here? Please come forward in the panel so that at least you're seated. And also, and that's, you're the only one, so that's great. The conduct of this public hearing shall be as follows. Please provide my legislative staff with any document for photocopy and distribution. Panel members are asked to remain in the room for question or additional testimony as may be desired by members of the committee. Question and testimony shall be confined to the substance or nature of the agenda. Personal inference to the character or the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the public hearing. If we can, please speak softly. And if any of you guys have cell phones, turn them off or put them on vibration. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for these proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and decorum will be restricted from participating and will be escorted and removed from the room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on, that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name and your title for the record. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that have joined me this morning. I have Senator Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Senator Frank Blas, and Senator Diddle Tideway. And with that, I'd ask the author of the bill, 295-37, Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, to give her opening statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good morning. First, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank my colleague, brother, Senator Frank Blas, for the accommodations in you in the efforts of hearing Bill 295-37. Manana Situas, many of God's blessings to all of us here this morning. I want to say on this Bill 295-37, back in 1975, this Guam legislature laid the framework for a commitment to transparency known as the Open Government Law, which requires that meetings where decisions will be made and policies will be approved are open to the public, and importantly, Mr. Chair, are noticed reasonably to give stakeholders and affected constituents time to prepare their feedback and make arrangements to attend and participate in these discussions. Now, almost 50 years later, responding to calls from our media partners and in recognition of the change in the consumer landscape that comes with decades of innovation, we are here to consider the first meaningful reform on what are the best platforms that can get the word out of these critical events. I am thankful to the bipartisan group of my colleagues, Senators Chris Barnett, Senator Perez, Senator Chris Duenas, Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas, you, Mr. Chair, Senator Joseph Augustine, Senator Roy Canata, and Legislative Amanda Shelton, who share my belief that digital media platforms should satisfy requirements to publish notice and agendas of upcoming public meetings. Bill 295-37 extends publication requirements to a greater number of local media companies, including newspapers with electronic editions and news websites, in addition to existing allowances for printed newspapers and television or radio stations that are licensed to do business on Guam. This forward-thinking proposal aims to revamp outdated mandates that were adopted at the time before internet access was a commonplace, and embrace technology to better service our community. Ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues, the trend of media consumption globally and locally is clear. Most people obtain their news through digital platforms. Updating our local laws to include these preferred websites and electronic publications will mean more residents are made aware of important debate and votes contemplated by agencies, commissions, and branches, and can result in the fiscal savings through more competitive landscapes of potential advertisers. You know, this term has taught me that building a consensus is not guaranteed and requires an investment in time and teamwork to make it happen. With this in mind, Mr. Chair, I'm thankful to our local media partners in print, broadcast, and online platforms for collaborating with my office to make this change both fair to and workable to all companies affected, and to my colleagues for recognizing the value of modernizing the critical law, one that demonstrates a government-wide commitment to true transparency. I want to highlight a couple of provisions, Mr. Chair, that I think protect the intent of this bill, which is to allow a greater number of platforms with a larger audience to be counted as eligible media to post these meeting notices. First, only local media companies will be eligible to receive these advertising dollars. While we recognize the widespread of use of platforms like Facebook and Instagram, it should be Guam's platforms that host meeting notices, not the big tech firms in Silicon Valley. Second, Mr. Chair, government-managed television channels like ones operated by PBS Guam and our legislature are also listed as eligible media platforms, opening the door for more competitive pricing and building the value of these channels as well. So, with that, Mr. Chair, because this effort was not made in a vacuum, I'm confident that Bill 295-37 is the right thing for our government, our treasured fourth estate, and our people. And I look forward to the discussions from our stakeholders and colleagues. Mr. Chair, I do want to thank PDN, working closely with my staff, Leon Guerrero, and others, Mr. Mayashta. All the media outlets that we approach were very receptive to the new idea for making sure that Guam is inclusive with what we have here locally with our media partners, all our media partners. So thank you. And I know that we do have someone here to speak, Ms. J, and I want to thank PDN for literally working closely with us and all the other media partners, because this is truly stepping up to the plate and coming into this platform of new technology. I mean, technology been here a while, but making sure that we update ourselves with the times. So, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice. And we have Mrs. J. Janet from PDN. Please provide your testimony. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Jay James, I'm president of the Pacific Daily News, and I come to you today because I have been with the Pacific Daily News for the last 32 years, and we have been serving Guam for 74 years, providing news and information to this island and now around the world. And it's an interesting time. I watched this newspaper go from paste up newspaper when I first started in 1992 to electronic media and newspaper combined together to now the bold move of moving into just completely digital. It was something that we chose to do, and I stand behind it because newspapers were not moving or increasing. Our demographic with our newspaper was 65 years and older, was the main folks who purchased or had subscriptions with the Pacific Daily News, all the way up until 90 years old. The challenge that we had was folks who would pass away would cancel their subscriptions, the families would cancel their subscriptions, but we didn't get any other subscriptions increasing or signing up. And so that has always been a challenge with the Pacific Daily News, and we've always seen that. We've seen it for the last 5 years, and the trends declined very fast in comparison to our digital media platform increasing substantially. So the papers that you guys have and the reports that you guys have show PDN's traffic for the last 6 months. We stopped printing the newspaper in April of 2023, and then we were hit with the typhoon in May. But it shows the increase in page views of our website going to 1.5 million just last month. That is just in 1 month, 1.5 page views of our website. You'll also see what we consider a very important number, which is the 319,000 total users. We call that unique visitors. That is one computer counted one time in 1 month, regardless of how many times you visit our website. You can come to our website 30 times in the month, 2 times within the month, 1 time within the month, but your computer IP address is only counted 1 time. It shows that PDN's number of users just in the month of June was 319,000. So here's also what we look at. IP addresses is by office or by household. So an office will have 1 IP address, but may have 10 employees. But that office is only counted once. So that 319,000 unique visitors and users that go to our site is really underestimated. So it really is a lot more. PDN's traffic is 65% local, Guam and the Marianas Islands, and it is 35% off-island. And we can track that every single day, every hour of the day. What's also important to know is traffic is measured in a way where it's open. Anyone can go to Google Analytics and look up what our site traffic is. And for me, if we are looking at open government, that is most important. If the whole goal is to be open government and to be able to provide people with notices, with board meeting announcements, with just anything that has to do that affects them, this public hearing, and they should know about it. Having it published in a medium, not just in print, but in a publication that is electronic and is where everybody is currently at and reading right now. We all know that when we're in the line at DMV, or at the clinic, or at a party, or even at the mall, at the food court, everyone is on their phone. The Pacific Daily News is not just website, it is mobile friendly, and we all know, and if you look at the number on that The numbers there, it shows our mobile sessions in terms of number of mobile users. Of the 319,000 unique visitors, the number of mobile users is 224,000. So more than 68% of our users look at us via their phone. And so I just want to let everybody know that I do support this bill wholeheartedly because it allows the Pacific Daily News to be able to publish electronically all our government notices that need to go out to the public. I will say that I do caution one thing on the bill, and that is defining eligible media platform website. And the only reason why I say that is because it states websites which contain news articles of opinion, features, and other matters of current interest published for public dissemination. I caution that you be more detailed when it comes to the word website. I understand you put media platform website, but to be very careful that anyone can go online, go to Wix.com, a free service of building a website, and be able to put news and information on their website, publish opinions and features and current events, and be able to bid and qualify to bid for the for government bids that are available. So I do caution that there's more details when it comes to itemizing what qualifies as a website. But newspapers of general circulation, allowing the Pacific Daily News to now play in this game is perfect because we used to be able to do this and be able to publish, but there has been skeptical, people have been skeptical about the word newspaper, not stating that it is electronic. And so I support this bill, and thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Ms. Janet. When you recommend to be careful, could you give us a recommendation on how maybe we may want to change the verbiage? Because you're looking at page 2, line 14 of the bill.
Right.
So what would you recommend?
Okay, so the original law states newspaper of general circulation, television and radio, right? So it was the media companies that were allowed to bid for government notices. If you change the wording, because television qualifies PBS, radio qualifies all the radio stations. Newspapers now being defined as to include electronic media covers. So if you change it to newspapers of general circulation to include electronic media, electronic newspapers, television and radio, and their websites, then you don't allow folks to put a website up and be able to bid, and be able to put a website up with news and information, because you can take a news article from PDN, from KUAM, rewrite it, put it up on your own personal website, and be a business on Guam. But if you change it to newspaper of general circulation, including e-newspapers, television and radio, you can't open a television station, you cannot open a radio station here on this island without being official, right? And so there's a lot more red tape to that versus just stating the word media website.
All right, okay. Madam Vice, the author of the bill, do you have any questions, or you wanted to save it till last?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would save it for last, but I did want to do a point of information that when this bill was being drafted and working closely with PDN, I did speak to the other vendors, Post and KUAM and Candid and others. So I wanted to stress that any media company, including a website, would need to be licensed to do business on Guam. But I feel like there are full digital news platforms that should not be excluded altogether. So that was just my comment. I do understand, however, that the point of the open government law is to utilize, and I'm going to stress, to utilize local news platforms. So the intent to maybe strengthen or tighten that to make sure that it's locally here, then maybe we can include that in the amendment, sir. So I will duly note it. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Senator Tello, do you have any questions for Ms. Janet?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to my colleagues. Good morning, Jenna. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
I don't have an issue with this legislation. I'm glad you pointed it out because when most media conglomerates are dealing a lot now with actually ending their publications because we're finding more things easier to find on the website. News is so quick, you know, anybody can get up and put anything on, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I think the Vice Speaker mentioned a licensed company, a media company, is very important to have because we know blogs get out there and people perceive it as news. You know, I like the digital factor. I mean, that's why I went ahead and got an iPad. Makes it easy. I'm old school. I like that feel of the paper, like most of us. We love that feel of the paper, but you know, being electronic, it does update information. Excuse me, update information a whole lot faster. If something comes up, you know, especially when we're trying to advertise something like a public hearing that we do and we're required by the open government law, and that's basically why we're incorporating even more transparency out there in every aspect that we can, and this is one way to do it. But the great thing about electronic media is that it can be updated, like right away.
Right.
Even before you put it, because I know sometimes when you give something to the PDN, you have to do it 3 days in advance.
Yeah.
And anything can happen in 3 days.
Right.
You know, a change, and you guys can change it just like that. I just have one question, though. I know I support the measure, you know, but I have a question with the PDN. What do you do about hacking? I mean, someone can go into your publications and they can go in there and they can change things up or provide false information. Do you have mechanisms in place? You know, I've been a real big fan of trying to curb the cybersecurity issue that we have on Guam. I mean, GMH got hit, University of Guam got hit. You know, there's no reason why you guys are not as vulnerable. So how do you take care of that situation,
Right.
that issue?
Yeah. So we have a 5-step process, and so it's actually a little bit more extreme than a lot of normal companies. So it's a 5-step process, and everything is done in the U.S. mainland. And so our website host is called Town News, and so they are known to be produce websites for big media companies. And so the 5-step process does not allow us, the PDN, to even go down. There is absolutely, I'll be careful, not absolutely, but in order for the Pacific Daily News to go down would be an extreme event if it were to happen. There are 5 people, and there is only 1 person here on Guam who have the major accesses to the site, with the other 4 being not on Guam. And so if one goes down, the second site will go up. If that site, it's a redundant site 5 times. So if the other site goes down, which cannot, then the 3rd site goes up, and if the next one, then the 4th site, all the way up to 5. The redundancy is usually 2 times over, and if you're extreme, it's 3 times over, but we're 5 times over.
Wow.
So the Pacific Daily News website has never gone down, and we were probably one of the first 5 websites to be up on the World Wide Web before anybody on this island.
Wow, that's very impressive. I thank you so much, and I thank the PDN for continuing to stay on Guam and publish, as we've seen some media outlets actually shut down. Yeah. You know, we've lost a TV media outlet, and we definitely need this, more media on the island, and media that brings the truth out.
Right. And that ultimately is our goal,
Okay.
is, in the World Wide Web right now, fake news has been a very common word, and Pacific Daily News prides themselves in getting both sides of the story, and I have an awesome news team right now.
Oh, well, thank you again so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And Jay, I apologize, I called you Jay Janet. Jay, Bob and Mata, the eyes are not that good, I guess. It's Jay James.
Yes, James.
Okay, I just want to make sure I make that clear.
No problem.
Senator Blas, do you have any questions? None at all. Madam Vice, before you comment, I just wanted to comment when they put on the fiscal report, no financial impact. There is always financial impact on everything we do,
Yes.
because it's a competitive world.
Yeah.
What you charge, what the others charge. So for me, there is a financial impact, maybe a benefit to the agencies if you're cheaper.
Right.
And if you're more expensive, then it's not good for you, but good for everybody else. But with that, Madam Vice, your closing. And
Thank you for that, Mr. Chair, and noting about the fiscal report too, as every bill needs to go through that process. And I just want to reiterate what was said earlier, especially to the listening audience. We did again, had full consultation with the PDN, with KUAM, the Guam Daily Post, and even Candid News. And to ensure our affected media companies felt that this reform would literally be workable for them, they all said, Mr. Chair, that they would either support the update found in Bill 295 or would not have a problem adapting to the change toward digital platforms. So again, 295-37 extends the publication requirements to a greater number of local media companies, including newspapers with electronic editions and news websites, in addition to existing advances for printed newspapers and television or radio stations that are licensed to do business on Guam. This forward-thinking bill aims to revamp the outdated mandates adopted at the time before Internet access was a commonplace, and embrace technology to better serve our people. And Mr. Chair, when you look at this and we look at the times that we are in today, and the evolution goes probably really fast, right? Sometimes we have modern day technology, and not even 2 months later, there's something completely new, different, and we literally need to adapt, improvise, and overcome with the times, right? There's always changing before us. So this is a start, almost 50 years ago. We're making a reform, we're making the changes. We noted the recommendation, we'll look at it, tweak it, and even before that, Mr. Chair, before we try and get it on to hopefully the July-August session, before the budget session, that will tweak that definition and work closely with all the media partners who locally do business here on Guam. So I hope that allays any concerns that the media partners have out there. So, Mr. Chair, for giving me the opportunity to help this effort and this measure on 295-37 COR to have this public hearing. And I'm hoping that all my, I think I got 8 of us on, I'm hoping that this would be a unanimous support as it relates to accountability and transparency, and making sure that the community of Guam knows what's happening when we hold hearings. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice. There being no one else to present testimony on this bill, this hearing is now concluded. I want to thank everyone for attending the hearing and providing feedback and suggestion. Bill 295-37 COR public hearing is now adjourned. The time now is 9:35. Thank you, Ms. James. And with that, we will now proceed right into Bill number 80-37, introduced by Senator Frank Blas, an act to appropriate the sum of $1 million from the general fund excess revenue for fiscal year 2023, as reported in the February 2023 Consolidated Revenue Expenditure Report to the Guam Unique Merchandise and Art Guma for the purpose of providing mentoring and financial assistance to startup business being developed with their program. And we have at least 6. We got 2 pages of support, but we got only 6 people that want to speak. So I'm good. We have Cliff Guzman, sir. Please come up. No. Okay, I'm only going to read off. You know, I follow instruction. No? It says written and it says oral. If you check mark oral, I'll call you up to speak orally. Unless you want to change. Otherwise, Clifford, you're the first one that's on the list that's check marked as oral testimony. And we have Angelica Rabino. Let me go down the list first, okay? I'm old school, okay? You know, just like you, Judy, I'm old school. I just follow the listing and then, don't worry, we'll get you all up. We got enough room for 10 people. But going down the list, we got Angelica Rabino. I'm guessing that's her name. Is there an Angelina? No. No, right? She stepped out? Okay, she can stay outside then. We can move along. We got Sayama. I think Anthony. Is that Sayama or you're Sayama? Then come on up, guy. Don't look at the rest. Just come on up. We got Okada, and she's here ready. We got Lorraine. That's Monica. No. I'm only going to go. Remember, old school. Follow the checklist. And I'm going to show you all that. Thank you, Ms. Flores, for coming up. Going down. Ms. Okada, did you want to speak? Then join, por favor. Last time we were together in the Board of Education. Okay. And then we have, we got Mel. Come on up, Mel. And then we have Mikia. I don't want to murder anybody's name, but Fakimito, is that you, Mikia? Okay. Is there anyone else that didn't check mark the oral testimony and you wanted to speak? Huh? Sir? But you wanted to speak? Okay, then grab a chair and sit over there in the corner. Okay, are we good now? Okay, and we're going to do this. We're going to start with age has its advantage, so Mrs. Flores, and then we'll go to Clifford. And then we'll work our way down. No, don't point at your wife. Leave her alone. She's doing fine. We go to Miss Flores. Afa munga pago. Okay, hold on first, and I'm going to ask when we're going to speak, okay? Now I'm going to ask Senator Blas to give his opening statement. But I remind everyone, the same folks are here. The same rules apply. Don't be disorderly, or we'll have you removed. Be nice to each other, and let's get by this bill. It's a simple bill. It's all for business, okay? And with that, Senator Blas, you've got the floor, sir.
Jesus Moasi, Mr. Chairman, kind left falso to introduce the bill before you went on ahead. That's okay. All right. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here today. As the author of the bill, AD-37 COR, I'm going to admit, okay, because when we first introduced this bill, it was introduced back in March of 2023, Pago, July of 2024, okay? And quite honestly, I almost forgot about it but I appreciate actually it was the promise from the chair that, at the time that we introduced it, the funding source was viable, but then life happens. And then given the opportunity now to be able to resurrect the bill, and obviously there are going to be some changes to the bill to be able to make sure that it comes with the time, and I'll explain that, okay? My sponsorship of the bill, of the drafting of the bill, was easy. Was very, very easy because Guam Unique Merchandise and Arts, Guma, the program that you all have, I have seen the successes in the program. I think that this is a program that is backed not just, by the individuals that are here, but by a wide spectrum of the community to include both the private and the public sector. I'm going to share with you what happened on Friday of last week, okay, which really got to me. I'm laid out in a hospital bed trying to recover from major surgery, and then I get a phone call from Lester Carlson from BBMR. He says, "Hey, Primo, I want to talk to you about your bill." And I said, "What bill?" He says, 80-37. I said, "Primo, 80-37. I think now we're up to about 320-37. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Your Guma bill, for the $1 million. And I said, "Oh, okay, what about it?" And he goes, "Well, we'd like to be able to support it. And we want to be able to move forward on it." I said, "Okay, well, let's do this." Then I get a call from Steve Guerrero from the Office of Finance and Budget. And he goes, "Hey, I just want to say that we want to be able to bring the bill on, and we're going to have to make some changes so that, the funding source. The funding source, as stated in Bill 80-37, was from revenues reported in a February 2023 report. Okay? But recognizing now that there is a funding source that's available today that is more current, that we will work together to be able to make the amendments and the changes to the bill so that it can reflect that. I don't want to, if you notice, I'm purposely staying away from what Guma is and everything, because I think we have not just subject matter experts, but people that are passionate and people that want to make sure that this goes through. Okay? And I think you tell the better story than I will. Okay? The bill is just a conduit and a way to be able to move it forward. It is going to be your testimony that you're going to be able to provide today, to not just convince, the community, but the body that's necessary to be able to move things forward. So I purposely stayed away from this, just to say, okay, we're going to talk about the bill. It's your floor now. Okay? So with that, Mr. Chair, she's staring at me very intently, and so I'm going to go ahead and make this public, okay? That, my colleague, my sister, Vice Speaker Tino Rose Muñoz Barnes is going to be, I intend to make her as a co-sponsor as well to the bill. That way she doesn't, because I can feel the daggers on my side, because she's staring at me, making sure that I say that. Okay? So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm going to go ahead and leave it to the people that are before us to provide the testimony. Thank you very much.
Okay, remember, stated we're going to start with Mrs. first. Hago Finena, you be first. They're all younger than you, so don't feel bad. Okay, Ms. First, it would begin, then we'll go to Cliff, Mel, and then we'll finish off with the rest. Okay?
Thank you, Senator San Agustin.
Thank you.
The reason I wanted Cliff and Monica to go first was because they have the data, they have the figures that can attest, or that I can speak to, but I don't have that. So but I will proceed, and just please know that you will get the full information and the data from Monica and Cliff. Is that all right?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Cliff always has the information. I keep asking why you only ask so little. But anyway, please continue.
Okay, I hereby submit my testimony in favor of Bill 80-37 as a private citizen, but also as a member of the Board of Directors of Guma. Being a small business owner myself since 1987, I'm familiar with the many challenges that face individuals attempting to start up a small business. Writing a business plan, learning how to create a budget, how to apply for a business license, to prepare financial reports and file taxes can be a daunting task for any would-be entrepreneur. For over 10 years, Guma has successfully mentored hundreds of small business startups, helping them realize their dream of owning a successful business. Guma's success can be attributed to policies and practices of meeting the needs of each individual trainee by assembling available resources in a comprehensive 16-week package of lessons with individual attention provided by experienced, caring instructors. Additionally, Guma has engaged business leaders from the community to assist the mentoring process through talks and actual business experiences throughout the program. The program provides additional marketing strategies and opportunities for trade shows and event incentives, such as Shark Tank, that helps those who graduate from the training to receive funding assistance based upon their business plan. Our board is comprised of volunteer professionals in private, government, and corporate entities who advise and evaluate applicant business goals, working enthusiastically with Director Monica Guzman and her staff to help them bring their service or product to successful fruition. Our Guam residents are indeed fortunate to have such a comprehensive business mentoring service. An investment towards the continued work of Guma is a solid investment in Guam's economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. And you know, as I'm looking through all this, I just thought about it. Wait a minute, Monica's really the key here. So I'm gonna let Monica speak. I'll save Clifford for another rainy day. Clifford's good friends of mine, good friends. Ms. Monica, you started out, and because you're the one, you're the lead of the pack. So you go for it, Monica. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Hafide and buenas to the members of the 37th Guam Legislature, Senator Frank Blas, Vice Speaker Tina Barnes, and Senator Tello Taitagui, and of course, Chairman Senator Joe San Agustin. My name is Monica Guzman, Executive Director of Guam Unique Merchandise and Art, Guma. I am here to testify in support of Bill 80-37 and to thank the members of the 37th Guam Legislature for recognizing the value of our Guam entrepreneurs and their importance to the economic and social well-being of our residents. I would like to acknowledge the presence today of some of our incubators and our participants. We have Guam Peeps, we have the EFIT Shop, Local Jerk, It Takes a Village, Little Lady Boutique, and then we have some testimony and presence from Hafa Bees, Gourmet Guam, the Coconut Tree Company, Guam Treasures, Love by Libby, and our board members, Dr. Judy Flores, Mr. James Santos from DFS, and Mr. Matt Cruz from the Bank of Guam. The Guma mission is to be the premier catalyst for promoting and facilitating Guam entrepreneurship. Through our partnership with the Small Business Development Center at the University of Guam, we developed a customized 16-week training program from which we have graduated over 350 participants. Our Guma participants are provided with the tools to start their own businesses and to navigate the world of licensing, merchandising, marketing, and the plethora of skills necessary to be successful in their business. There were close to 370 participants who attended our home-based business training program, and through a previous appropriation by this body, we were able to provide mini grants to 85 home-based businesses. Through our incubator program for entrepreneurship, we are proud to have incubated 50 new startups and expanded businesses with funding and sub-grants awarded to these entrepreneurs. Each of these incubator participants had a dream and the passion to make that dream become a reality. Last year, Guma celebrated 10 years of helping entrepreneurs realize their dreams. Since our beginning in 2013, and with the generous support of DFS Guam Limited, we have successfully pursued and have been awarded federal and local grants to accomplish our mission. We continue to pursue funding to sustain the program, and we thank the Guam Legislature for being by our side every step of the way in our growth. Guma has forged partnerships with national organizations such as the International Business Innovation Association, INBIA, and in 2015 we received the BIA Entrepreneurship Center Management Certificate, and I was certified as a mentor program manager. On the local level, we have built alliances with the Guam Green Growth Initiative Makerspace in the Chamorro Village, and we work closely with GITA, GVB, and the University of Guam and the SBDC. Guma has also been awarded grants from the Administration for Native Americans, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Growth Accelerator Program at GITA. We are also awaiting word from the National Endowment of the Arts on a grant application submitted in February, which will provide funding to develop more leadership opportunities for our incubators. There is ongoing dialogue currently with the U.S. Economic Development Authority, EDA, for a feasibility study on how to grow and expand our creative industries. If awarded this appropriation, funds will be used to provide direct assistance to our incubators and home-based entrepreneurs. Now, more than ever, our people need all the support we can collectively provide them. Our goal is to be a pillar of hope and success for our entrepreneurship community in Guam, and quoting from the bill, creating viable and lasting grassroots businesses that will help promote economic expansion and diversity in Guam. I would also like to point out that through our partnership with GITA and their STEP program, we have been able to identify, I think there's like 7 businesses that have graduated that are our Guma incubators that are very much a part of the GITA STEP program, which provides opportunities and opportunities to help them expand their business and perhaps export their products through the STEP program at GITA, and maybe we'll have Melanie talk a little bit more on that. They have been given opportunities to travel to trade shows, and then just recently in July, or a couple weeks ago, through their partnership with SBA and WUSADA, the Western United States Agricultural Trade Association, they've been able to use that opportunity to further expand their businesses into exporting. We also, through our partnership with DFS has allocated space at the Tea Galleria for the Guma Marketplace. And in that space, we have our incubators and some of our businesses that actually sell their products at DFS. And we're very appreciative for their continued support to Guma. In closing, I'd like to say that on behalf of all of the Guma participants, our 50 startups, our next round of potential incubators, just in June, 46 individual businesses completed our 16-week program, and in August will be the application deadline for incubator funding. And we anticipate we'll get anywhere from 15 to 20 more applicants at that time. In 2023, we had 13 incubators that were approved for funding, representing about $325,000 that will go directly to these businesses. And I thank you for that. We deeply appreciate the support of this body, and on behalf of all of us here, we stand in full support of Bill 80-37. Thank you, Sijus Maasi. Thank you, Sijus Maasi.
Thank you, Monica. We just skip Cliff. We'll go to Mel, and then we'll go down this side. Cliff is the go-to guy, so that's why I don't worry about Cliff. Mel, please. And then we're going to ask the gentleman here, or Lorraine, and then you, okay? Good man. Point at the lady first. Mel?
Hafa and good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Mel Mendiola. I am the Administrator CEO of the Guam Economic Development Authority. I'm also, GITA is a key partner of Guma. We have been since the outset of, since approximately 2019. But even before 2019, I first became aware of Guma through my involvement with Farm to Table Guam. I would go out to the conferences for the Administration for Native Americans, the funder of Farm to Table. And I'd go out with all these cultural groups from Guam, which is great, But the arts, the focus on the arts is different than the focus on economics and commerce, right? And that was always something different. And what was really great about, and what would make me feel bad was they'd always get the islands together, and Hawaii would come out with this incubator and that incubator, and we'd have our cultural practitioners and we'd have farm to table. And so one of the ways that Guma filled in the gap was they then became our region's incubator provider from the beginning, and we became basically fast friends and partners at that point in time. Since then, since 2019, GITA supported, at the outset of the administration, we started supporting Guma through our qualifying certificate community contribution grant program. So this was a grant program that was created in 2019. It's a competitive grant program where you put in applications and you're scored by all the members, by a small committee at GITA and some outside community members. Guma was awarded $25,000 in 2019. They were awarded $50,000 in 2020. There were no real caveats that we gave them because $50,000 and $25,000, I knew that they could utilize it whichever way they wanted for administration or to pass on to the incubators. Either were okay with us. Where we really started to accelerate our activities, we saw a great return on investment with Guma. And so what we did was in 2022, we advertised a notice of funds availability for what we designed, GITA designed a growth accelerator program. The point of the growth accelerator program was to really get more businesses off the ground. As you're aware, in the thick of COVID, you had people, especially in the tourism industry, that were losing their jobs. We wanted to find a way to accelerate them being entrepreneurial. We knew that this was something that was available. We had heard that there were multiple organizations interested in doing entrepreneurial activities, organizations that work with veterans, organizations that work with women. Of course, we knew about Guma because we had been working with them. So we put out a notice of funds availability, and it's an open notice of funds availability until the funds are no longer available. So far, the only respondent to the NOFA has been Guma. So through that, we have given, we awarded Guma $475,000 in fiscal year 2022. Source was ARP. And in fiscal year 24, we authorized, we agreed to $475,000, but what has been paid out thus far has been $285,000, sort of a phase one to Guma in fiscal year 2024. I can't say enough good things about this. You know, GITA, over the years, what I've observed is when you try to get a government agency, and I will lump in, whether it's GITA or it's the University of Guam or any other organization, if it's not a part of our core mandate, then the execution of a program like Guma is going to be very sporadic. It might be one shot and then never again, that type of situation. And that's why you really need a focused organization, a focused not-for-profit to work on this. Incubators are something that there's a lot of evidence to show how effective incubators are for entrepreneurs in the arts. There's further evidence to show how incubators are effective for achieving levels of capitalization in the venture capital world. We'd love to see Guma expand to Guma and STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. Really, I see a lot of folks that are involved in food, a lot of folks that are involved in apparel and things like that. I'd love to see Guma put out more in app development, more in artificial intelligence, really to step that area up, but they're not going to be able to do it without additional resources. And I've seen that firsthand from when we gave them $25,000 versus when we stepped it up and were able to pass through $500,000. And the word just spreads like wildfire. The first Guma cohort 10 years ago was, I think these guys will tell you, was something like 6 people. And the last cohort that showed up, it was a packed room. GITA will always be a partner of Guma in my estimation because it's a natural fit for us. We've experienced an increase in the number of Guam product seal applicants and participation through the Guma program. We've also experienced an increase in the number of loan applicants through the Guma program. We're trying really hard to push out our SSBCI venture capital program. I think that one of the key areas to get money out on the street is going to be working with Guma. So we plan to continue this partnership as long as we can, but as you're all well aware, all the money that we've given them, the big checks we've written have been from ARP, and there's an expiration date with that. And so with that, I strongly urge that you not only look at a funding source, and if you want to try out a pilot funding source for this year, that's cool, but really, really, really think hard and explore and do it, see if it's something that, and if we can help to demonstrate what a return on investment it is for you to be able to secure them something ongoing, and where every year there's something that our entrepreneurs can rely on for seed funding, that would be amazing. I think, you know, in closing, the only thing I would really say is this is one of the greatest examples in our government, it's a partnership across the government, nonprofits, the private sector, and the federal government. They've done it. They've secured funding from the federal government, they've secured funding from the local government through GITA, they've secured funding from the private sector. They were doing that before any of us came into the picture. And this is really the last stop for them to really complete that. But this is one of the greatest examples of how all the parties have come together to give the people of Guam a hand up, not another handout, a hand up. And that's, to me, the greatest strength of Guma, and for that reason, I'm very enthusiastically support their request on behalf of the Guam Economic Development Authority.
Thank you. Well, you're good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Lorraine Okada, my former partner in the Board of Education. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that was years ago when we were much younger. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Senator Blas, sponsor of the bill, and members of this committee. My name is Lorraine Okada, resident of Barrigada, had to make that rhyme, and owner of the Okada Managing Consulting Services, where I focus on human resources, training and development, and mentoring and coaching programs. I am writing to express my strong support for Bill 80-37, which provides $1 million in funding appropriation for small business startups, incubator programs. As a training consultant for Guma for the past 10 years, I have personally witnessed the positive impact these programs have on our entrepreneurs and business startups. I have witnessed the passion, the talent, and the creativity emerge from these individuals, sparked by the networking and encouragement of their peers, and of course, further developed by the Guma Entrepreneurship Training and Mentoring Program. Their commitment to complete 16 weeks of training is an indication of the value they get as they build on their business startup skills. Over 317 individuals have graduated from the Entrepreneur Training and Mentoring Program since 2014, and 374 have graduated from the Ibisin and Mami program, which focused on home-based cottage industries. We had your support for that program and has been very successful. This includes new and existing business owners. In 2023, close to 70 small businesses graduated, and in June 2024, just a few months ago, we graduated 80 students. 50 new small businesses have been incubated through the years and have expanded through the Guma Entrepreneurship Program. To date, over 700 artisans, cultural producers, and entrepreneurs have attended the Guma Training and Mentoring Program. These businesses have generated over $2 million in revenues and have created 100 new jobs as of 2023. And in 2024, we anticipate that we will be bringing in at least 15 to 20 new incubators into the program. The Ibisin and Mami program, which is supported and funded a home-based cottage industry, graduated close to 400 small businesses. Their voice might be silent, but their impact is strong. If you go to any of our local pop-up fairs, you will see these small businesses thrive at our local fairs. whether it be the Mango Festival, Banana Festival, Manilo Night Market, Chamorro Village, Coconut Festival, Valley of the Laddie, fairs at GPO, fairs at the Agana Shopping Center, fairs at the Micronesian Mall, and even a shop at DFS. And many of our other village festivals. They pop up their tents with pride and sell with confidence. You, our senators, have made an impact on their life. It warms my heart that our tax dollars have fueled their passion for profit with some money into their pocket. This bill, 80-37, will continue the momentum. And as you can see from all the previous funding appropriation, it will help our business startups in more ways than you can imagine. Bill 8037 will provide funding assistance to small business incubators and play a crucial role in connecting startups with seed money, grants, and investors. By providing financial support, they are empowered at their early stage business to innovate, create jobs, and contribute to Guam's economic growth. Bill 80-37 will help support Guma's training and mentoring program as they get one-on-one guidance from experienced entrepreneurs and industry experts. This guidance helps startups refine their business models, navigate challenges, and make informed decisions. As a result, incubated businesses are more likely to succeed and thrive. Bill 80-37 will support the networking opportunities for small business startups. The Guma program facilitates networking and fellow entrepreneurs, investors, and industry professionals. These connections lead to partnerships, collaborations, and access to valuable resources. By fostering a supportive community, incubators enhance the chances of startup success. Bill 80-37 provides support for access to resources. Early stage startups often lack the infrastructure needed to grow, and the Guma programs bridge this gap effectively. Studies have shown that incubator and accelerator programs can help startups succeed. A study by the National Business Incubation Association found that incubated businesses are more likely to survive, are less likely to go out of business, and have higher growth rate than the non-incubated businesses. The study indicated that startups nurtured by an incubator program had an 87% survival rate in comparison to 47% of businesses that did not utilize an incubator program. In addition, a study by the United States Small Business Administration found that incubated businesses are more likely to obtain financing, be successful in their first year of business, and have higher revenues. These studies, among countless others, indicate that incubator and accelerator programs can be beneficial to startups and play a statistical significant role in the overall success of the company that they start. Investing in small business startups has a ripple effect on the broader economy. Successful startups create jobs, generate tax revenues, and stimulate our local economy. By supporting business startups through training, mentoring, and incubator grants, we are not only helping individual entrepreneurs, but we are also contributing to the overall economic health and resilience of our community. In summary, supporting small business startups training and mentoring and incubator training is an investment in our community and our community's future. By nurturing innovative ventures, we strengthen our local economy, create jobs, and foster entrepreneurship. Thank you for the attention that you're giving this matter. Thank you for the vote that you're going to be giving this. And I urge you to allocate the necessary funds to sustain and expand these programs and help the individuals that really need the help and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. Okay, you're next, and then we'll go back to him and then him, okay? Please, state your name and go for it.
Hafide and Sizuas Maasi, members of the Guam Legislature. My name is Angelica Rubino, and I am the proud owner of It Takes a Village. Today, I was given the opportunity to share my testimony that supports this legislative funding for small business startups. As an incubator grantee, I owe my success to this legislative funding. Without this funding, my dreams of being a business owner would have taken much longer to come to fruition. Throughout the 16-week mentoring and training program under Guma, I was not only given valuable guidance, resources, and financial assistance, but an opportunity to be part of a collaborative network amongst local businesses on Guam. Small businesses play a very important role in our community, not only by providing jobs, generating tax revenue, and boosting economic growth, but by also providing inspiration and creativity and encouragement within our island. As a young mom, I wanted to create a sustainable business that fosters a sense of community. With that in mind, I came up with It Takes a Village, an infants and toddlers thrift shop. Through It Takes a Village, I plan to collaborate with like-minded businesses, artists, to collaborate, and create a service for the underserved individuals in our community. By supporting this Bill 80-37, you give the people of Guam a foundation to support themselves and their loved ones. In conclusion, I believe that this legislative funding for training and incubator grants for small business startups are vital for Guam. This investment will not only be beneficial for aspiring entrepreneurs, but also foster a sense of inclusivity and vibrant community. Sizuas Masi for your time and
thank you. You're next, sir.
Hafide Guahusi Tony Sayama. I am the owner, the proud owner of the local shop in Agana Shopping Center. When I first started my business, it was really hard for me to get off the ground. Guam Peeps, Chamorro Dolls, wasn't really a thing on Guam, and it was really hard for me in the beginning because I was really looking for, the banks were denying me because they didn't understand my vision and what I was trying to do, creating products for my company. And I stumbled upon Guma by Jessica, the late Jessica, who owned Bonita Baby, and she said, you should go check this program out. So I went, I looked into it, and I found that when first I was very nervous about coming into this because I didn't know nothing about where to start, and they said just show up for the orientation and they'll guide you, and from there I was hooked. And I learned so much thanks to Guma, how to create a business plan, how to pretty much do everything it takes to start a business from scratch. And from there, it also helped us to network with other business owners and pick their minds too of how to run a business too. And in the process, I was bringing other people in with me and promoting Guma because I was telling them my story, my success story, and I told them where to go and how it starts, because it really is hard on Guam to start a business. Because the thing about living on Guam, you have to be sustainable, so you have a job. So it's hard for you to start your business because you have to leave your job to go into the market, and not everybody has that luxury. But because Guma helped us with our startup, we were able to have the capital to create more products and to go out to pop-ups and all these events, and also just kind of help each other out. Sorry, I didn't write anything. I'm just kind of speaking out of how I feel about Guma. But if it wasn't for Guma, I wouldn't be here, plain and simple. They continue to help me. We provide a space at my shop in the Agana Shopping Center for other Guma graduates to sell their products because we felt like, okay, we need a spot for them. So anybody and everybody is welcome at our shop. And I was able to expand my business into wholesale as in Payless. So my company also provides the reusable bags for Payless. And I'm able to bring in other small businesses into Payless and help them and say, hey, we should all go to use this opportunity to kind of, because Payless is like all over the island. So I bring my friends in and I put it out there. And then I use my platform, which is on Instagram. It's called Guam Funny Memes, to also help and promote small businesses, but also make some funny skits for all of you guys to enjoy. I don't really get political in there. That's why you don't see a lot of politics on there. I just want to bring the good vibes and also support small businesses. That's why you see Frank and Magahid and all these other small businesses on my platform, because we use comedy to help push our products and kind of give something back to the community. Other than that, really thank you to Guma, and I hope this bill passes, because this will help a lot of small businesses out there to get in. It's really hard. It is already living on Guam, and again, thank you to Guma for helping my business and the many families that I helped if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Hoffaday. My name is Marvin Crisostomo. I am the head janitor of Local Jerk. My wife is the CFO, so she told me not to tell any jokes, but it's happening. She's outside. Anyways, thank you, senators. Thank you to Guma and the GITA program. Local Jerk is a recipient of the Guma grant, the expansion grant, and we are a product of the STEP program. Like was mentioned earlier, the Guma program keeps all small businesses in touch with each other, and we help each other grow. This is the reason why I'm sitting here supporting this bill, not just because it's a great bill. I think funding needs to come from a permanent place where Guma and Gita could get this. We don't have to come here every year. It just, they know what they're doing. Obviously, I believe all the Guma products are successful, and that's why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll save the author for Cliff. Did you want to speak? I almost forgot about Cliff. No, you're good, right? All right, okay. And anyway, I'm going to meet Cliff anyway after this one, and we're going to talk about everything else. I'll save Senator Blas, the author, for last. Senator Titlegreen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for everyone who came to testify. You know, I was a small business owner myself. I owned a company called Telephoto. And then I people remember that way back, and then also moved into something called the Graduate Inc., did the cap and gowns. So I definitely know the sacrifices a business person makes when doing this, and the time it takes. Oh my gosh, you know, a regular 8 to 5 job is luxury compared to a business owner. It's 24/7 sometimes. You're lucky if you get a day off in the week. So I definitely know the sacrifices businesses make. And when you have the help of individuals out there who are willing to assist you, to start you up, oh my God, that's even better. So I commend, you know, Guma for the work they have been doing. But you know, as a business owner, you know how important it is on finances, and I had to manage your funding so that you have sustainability. And that's really important. Sometimes, and then we're seeing businesses shut down because they didn't know how to manage their money very well. And I hope Guma has that program in there on, you know, sustainability. If not, then I know Gita has a lot of good information, a lot of people on, you know, making sure you don't go bankrupt, you know, and don't take too much that you can't handle. It's okay to start small. You think big, but start small, you know, and then build from there. And when it comes to funding from the legislature, giving any nonprofit organization, I have to be very careful. I've always been the one that's been a stickler. I'm the vice chair of the chairman's committee when it comes to appropriations. So I have to cross my T and dot my I's. I completely support this organization, but I got to make sure that the money, the $1 million, is going to exactly the people out there that need it. Not a program where they come in and they have to spend their own hard-earned money to be a part of a program. So I want to make sure that happens. I want to make sure that that $1 million is actually going to individuals so they don't have to pay. I want to make sure that $1 million goes to a company starting up that needs that seed money to get going. That's what I want to make sure. And I want to make sure this bill spells that out. Not just give it to Guma, a nonprofit organization, but I need them to be financially responsible, and that means recording what they're spending this $1 million for. Right now, we got information from Gita that Guma was given $475,000, $475,000, and then in 2014, they were given $285,000. That leaves a balance of $190,000 left over. So the bill itself, I think the author mentioned, it has to be tweaked. Because if I may ask you, Melanie from Gita, that any kind of funding coming from the government of Guam doesn't go directly to a nonprofit organization. It has to be given to a government agency, whether it's DOA or whether it's Gita. So I think the tweaking on this legislation will mean that, because when I read it, it looks like it's going directly to Guma. So I want to make sure, Mr. Chair, that this money goes directly to Gita, which Gita oversees the funding and then distributing. Because if you read the bill, Melody, it doesn't say that.
Thank you, Senator, for that clarification. That was something that Gita was also going to point out. Although Gita is we can still maintain some oversight and request reporting, and you can also I believe that you can cut the check straight from DOA to Gita and avoid having to have Gita go through BBMR, DOA, and then Gita. So it might eliminate be a little more efficient. Okay. And then if we want, we can, of course, we will get their reporting because it's part of our internal mandate and that type of thing. So we're happy to do that.
Okay, so Monica, my question is, the $1 million, what do you plan on spending with that? Because I don't see anything in here showing me how you're going to spend that $1 million.
Thank you for that question, Senator. The majority of, like the funding that we received from Gita, they're 75–80% of the funding goes directly to the incubators. And then it also goes to help fund our training program. But like I said, in 2023 incubators, we had 13 businesses that were approved for incubator funding, and of those 13 businesses, it represented a little over $325,000 in incubator funding that went directly to the businesses.
Well, I'm hoping this $1 million is 100% going to them, considering that there's still money coming from Gita. The $475,000 that was given to you, like you said, some of that was used for administrative costs and salaries for your employees and salaries of contracted workers. I believe, Lorraine, you're a contractor with this incubator and that you provide your services. So, like any nonprofit organization, if you really look at it, you'll be shocked to see how much money really gets to the individual versus how much gets to administrative cost. So I want to make sure that this $1 million is going directly to the incubators, and that whatever funding, which I know there's other grants and opportunities out there that covers administrative costs, that's important. But I think, if the good author of the legislation allows me to put an amendment in here to ensure that Gita follows the steps that, I know you already have a protocol in place.
Yes, ma'am. So with the current gap funding, I believe there is the flow through. We have the same requirement. that the lion's share of the money must go directly to the incubators. However, with the growth in the servicing requirements, because $1 million is servicing many more businesses, and you're not servicing larger businesses, you're servicing more small businesses.
Right.
And so we also allow for that money that we want to go to the incubators, but when we say money to incubators, it's also inclusive of the expanded training.
Right.
So if they need more training support, if they need more counseling support, like I know that Guma helps with legal, you know, so that they can get their paperwork and things like that sorted, their LLC docs. All of this brings down the cost, and so that to us is also allowable. So it's not a check that goes directly to the incubator, but it is something that is a direct benefit to the incubator, as opposed to an indirect administrative, which would be like advertisements or, I don't know. I want to say refreshments, but I know refreshments are important to the incubator classes as well.
No.
But yeah, we broke it up by direct expenses associated with the incubator versus indirect expenses, and I would encourage the body to utilize that language, and we can provide that to you, ma'am.
Oh, I will definitely give you a call as I create my amendment on the bill to ensure that, because, you know, even though we are, the good author mentioned that this was a time because we're starting to see the excess revenue in government of Guam is there now to be able to fund something like this, but we have to also be very cautious too, because there's so many other really needed areas in our government of Guam that needs help. But I appreciate the word that you used on what was given back to the community, the economic growth, you know, it's measured in this money that's given up front. But Clifford, I'm sorry, you got your mic on. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to note for the record that in 2023, when this legislature appropriated $250,000, every single penny went directly to all of the recipients, the participants. And we had, we qualified 151 home-based businesses, 85% of them were grantees. And so I want you to know that that has always been our intent, that this program is entirely free for anybody who participates. They don't pay a single penny other than their time, their passion, and their focus on trying to be what they can be. But I just want to add one thing, that part of this is that we've talked about networking. We're not creating networks, from my view, we're creating a whole new community. A whole new community of entrepreneurs who are going to become larger business owners and are going to be working with each other through that entire process. And it's very, very exciting. But yes, there are costs to doing that. There's no doubt about it. Every entrepreneur that we bring on, we have one staffer in our company, one. That doesn't count me, doesn't count Monica, doesn't count a lot of things. That one staffer tracks the people who are out there, the entrepreneurs, sees what needs to be done, sends it back to us, and we provide the mentorship and everything else all for free again for 2 years after they graduate, 2 years after they start their business. We are there with them. So again, I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not just, oh, we're a nonprofit, come to us, you know, things like that. No, we're not here for anybody except our entrepreneurs. And I do want to make that clear, and I do want to make it clear that even in every federal grant that we have received, even the federal grantees or grantors recognize that in order for you to be successful in your nonprofit services, you have to have somebody who's going to watch the books. You have to have somebody who's going to do outreach, you know, on phone calls. You have to have somebody who's going to do all the intake. And that does cost. And so we're trying to make this as absolute minimal as possible. And it's been a struggle. Even as much money as you think we've gotten, it has been difficult.
Right. I think we're seeing that quite a bit with a lot of businesses, especially when we're seeing empty, you know, stores and empty companies, you know, and people are leaving off island. There's a huge exodus. So, you know, you have to look at that base, that tax base that we're living in. And when you're building a business, you have to consider the population. and who to service. But you mentioned 2 years. I'm hoping it's longer than 2 years because most businesses don't see real profit until 5 years. So I hope you guys can continue on to make it a little bit longer than 2 years to keep on top of them, and also offer expanded growth grants to these individuals, you know, because it's very difficult, as mentioned. Banks don't always, you know, have that foresight, and then they're not always notorious for having it. So I really appreciate if you can move. And also with the, you know, I want to make it clear, Clifford, just like you're trying to make it clear to me. Well, I want to make it clear that this money, this government funds, is going to those individuals, the incubators, and I'd like to see 100% of that go there. But I'm going to take Mel's advice. You know, she's herself is an entrepreneur herself, and I just want the best for our people. And I know what it's like to have a business and the struggle, the sacrifices we make, and the loss we could take. You know, so I appreciate it. I'm sorry I have to rush off because I have another meeting to attend. But I thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity, and look forward to working with the author of this legislation to incorporate these safety nets in there. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to also recognize Senator Roy. I know he's listening on the YouTube. Senator Roy, do you have any comments to the panel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thank you for your swift response to this legislation. I think it's very much imperative that we invest in our people who invest in our government. The tax dollars are only as circular as our economy. So investing in our local people is always a very good initiative, and I'm thankful for the author for investing in our people directly and putting this money back to where it belongs, in the people's hands. I don't think there's any questionable activity, any conspiracy. I don't think I asked for anyone in the Guma for donations to support this legislation. I just want to put that clearly on the record, that I support you. Mr. Sayama, you know, your dad and I are very good friends. As a matter of fact, no conflict of interest, but we used to put up Senator Blas's signs together. So I know the backbone here, right? Your dad's a great guy. He's a great serviceman, and you know, I know that you're just as great as him. To the guy that makes one of the most best Nancy's on this island and dried meat, and also lechon, I think it's a great investment. Our people can definitely grow. As we give them the money to grow, you know, you just give them a little bit water, that seed will grow as far as it wants to go. But, you know, I think a lot of commitment from volunteerism of the board and the sole employee, it's a tenfold of investment, right? So our economy is going to grow as long as we support those who are investing in our economy. I think Mel also, one of my very favorite oversights. You know, you guys do a lot of work. Although you guys are not always in the front news for what you guys do, I know that there's a lot of great investment opportunities that you guys pursue off island as well. So I'm very much in full support of this legislation. A lot of the people out there, I'm also a part owner of Gourmet Guam. If you look at my point card there, it's very ridiculous. So again, I'm very happy to see that Gourmet Guam is very successful Guma partner. This is just a good position for us to be in, and as long as we have the money and there's an ability to give it to you guys to get more partners out there with us in a public-private partnership, there shouldn't be any question. We should be putting it back out to the people and helping our island grow and our community and our people prosper. So without that further ado, Mr. Chair, thank you for this legislation, and I respectfully request to be a co-sponsor if the legislator sponsor allows me to. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Granta. You know, Clifford, you mentioned that there's one person in the group. Is that person in the audience? Beto and Checkman? Okay. Okay, she's the one that monitors the books. All right. She's your go-to person. Okay. You know, Cliff, in the past we spoke about Guma quite often. And you know, everybody remembers that my slogan's always been keep business in business, because that's what drives the economy. I'm never worried about Gita. I just wish the DOA would give them the money faster so they can do what they need to do. And maybe that's what we'll put in the bill to protect that. And the issue that Senator Tello brought up, I can understand her extent. I don't know. When she wants to talk about spots being vacant, well, let's get Guma to fill those spots with the businesses that come to them or the folks that want it open. Because I even teased, I'm very transparent, okay? I teased Cliff earlier. Why only $1 million? Mel, can you tell us how much ARP money was given to you to help them? So we can measure how we need to adjust the total funding allowance here, because I already told Senator Frank that I'm not looking at $1 million, I'm looking a little bit more, because after this year, we don't know where we're going. There's money today, and that is until exhausted. And it can keep you guys going for more than a year or 2 years, then so be it. But at least it maintains that success, and hopefully the turnaround, and whoever gets back in office, or whoever's in office, will promote the same thing. Otherwise, can't blame me for anything, or Senator Blas. We're going to do what we can to take, and Senator Roy. We're going to do what we can for business. But Mel, maybe you can tell us how much money that didn't come from the legislature, but came from the administration.
Okay. In 2019, through our QC grant program, we gave Guma $25,000. In 2020, through our QC grant program, we gave Guma $50,000. Both were to be utilized for specifically to pass through to, I believe those were passed through to incubators, or and matching as well for grant funding. In 2020, when GITA was rolling out the pandemic assistance grants, if you recall, we made a supplemental request to the governor for $2.4 million for economic diversification. So this is for like the aquaculture, additive manufacturing, transshipment, all the different types of initiatives we had. And we incorporated $1 million for our growth accelerator program, GAP. And we incorporated $1 million into that budget. Now, from that $1 million, we then issued the notice of funds, or rather, when we asked for that money, we requested that money, we got a soft yes, and so we went ahead and issued the notice of funds availability, and Guma applied. Guma, I believe, has been given $475,000, and then a follow-up of $285,000. However, the ARP, specific to what was designated to GITA, you would have to clarify with BBMR the balances, because I know that some of it was shifted to other initiatives, including the LEAP second round. And so when some of that money was taken for the second round of LEAP, then that, of course, that puts other projects at risk. And so in total, I'd say it was $760 that's been given to Guma through ARP. Whether or not they'll get that sort of last appropriation of 285, or that last amount of 285, it really depends. It's a function of all of the other obligations that of that money under ARP, because as I had mentioned, the economic diversification pot of money started to be utilized for things including the last LEAP. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Monica.
Thank you, Senator. I'd just like to also point out that our board, or our volunteer board of directors, are very active in the program, and at each board meeting, heavy discussion on compliance and the use of public funds. And so our board is always directing us, myself, and their staff to make sure that every penny spent, we're able to report it, and we're able to make sure that it is spent with the intent that it was given to us, especially when it comes to public funds, and of course also our federal grants. So our board is very, very on top of it, always, every single request for disbursement comes with lots of questions from our board.
Okay. You want to say something, Cliff? Go for it, Cliff.
Okay, thank you. I'm let out of my cage. I just wanted to point out, with all due respect to the senator, that we have incubators that are still with us, that we're still helping, that were the first incubators 10 years ago. Our commitment is a minimum compared to what we do at a maximum. And so that's important. We also, I also want to put out that we have incubators who have come back because their businesses are growing, and so they need additional funding, and we've provided that on occasion, you know, but, and we continue to grow. I think our last cohort, correct me if I'm wrong, Lorraine, but we had over 120 applicants for our last cohort. Think about that for a minute. But most importantly, what we're seeing is the shifting of the mentality that I need to go and get a Guam job, or I need to go work for the Navy, or I have to do this or that. The mentality now is, I can do this. I have a passion, I have a dream, and I can make it happen. And that's what we're seeing. That is the most amazing experience you could ever have, to be at one of our graduations and see the glows on people's faces, and that they made it through, and you know, they're ready to take that next step of entrepreneurship. So again, this is not about us. It's not about Guma. It's about all these people that have the passion, just need a pathway to realize that passion and that dream. That's what it's about. So it's not about Guma, it's not about Monica, it's not about me, it's not about the board members, it's not about Gita. It's about these people who now are doing something for themselves and for our island. And it just makes me fugu everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you, Cliff. You know, I just wanted to express that, number one, you know, one of my colleagues brought up about they're in business. We already did the Dave Santos Act, okay? Anybody on a certain threshold, you only pay 3%. There's already an edge. But Guma needs the edge to build the economy. Because, you know, everybody always talks about, let somebody else do this. No. The monkey's on us, the legislature. We've got the ability to appropriate money. And that's why I teased you earlier about why only $1 million. And then when I'm doing the math a little bit, if we were able to provide sufficient funding, I know Senator Bloss loves this part because, you know, we have to admit it, today, just this week, we had the SAS meeting, and we identified that we got a pretty good chunk of money. And I'm in the mood and in full support of supporting Guma. Because in the past, we could only give, $250 small, because that was the trend. Now's an opportunity to provide sufficient funding that can and hopefully carry it for maybe 2 or 3 years, so that you can do what you need to do, and you can go back to the businesses that are already graduated, and maybe they're year-round. Maybe they still need help. They just don't realize they need to come back home and say, hey, can you double-check fund what we got? And am I moving forward? And then you can also check if they're filing their taxes correctly and they're getting they're paying 3%, not 5%, you know, and they're doing what they need to do. And then Gita will do the reporting. I'm not worried about Gita. Gita's doing fine. You know, they know how to do the reporting. I'm more concerned about trying to get people to go into business. Por favor, don't just go to Navy, don't go Guam, and don't go off island. Don't make the excuse, it's a better deal in the mainland, because let me tell you, they don't realize that until they go in the mainland, and then they pay from not only federal tax, but state tax, community tax, all the taxes in the world. A lot of folks don't realize that. And then I see them come back and says, you know, you're right, Senator. I says, what do you think you're doing? You need a plan if you plan on departing. Don't just get up and go. Because many folks that have left Guam said, I'm going to go and move to the States and live there. Sold their house and everything. 10 years later, they're back on Guam. And then they're arguing, why isn't Chamorro Land Trust giving me a lease? Sapwit. You know, Guam is a hidden treasure to a lot of folks in the mainland. They believe that. Guam's got the potential to grow in the business. And I like to see our local people do that. And if the only way to help it is to back Guma, Senator Bloss's bill, then that's what we're going to do. And I was looking at, like I said, why only $1 million? I'm going to say that we're going to put a little bit more than that, okay? We're looking at maybe 2 or maybe even 3 million. Because we need the program to be prepared to shoot off and be able to sustain for more than a year. Because we're going to put in the bill, I'm too exhausted. And there's no, whatever we need to, so you don't have, DOE just cut the check, goes to you. You manage it from there at Gita, work it, get it done, get the people moving. Let's get business back on track. Because you can bring all the tourism, Guam, but if there's no business at Tazabalina, doesn't make sense. There's a lot of empty stalls. It doesn't make sense. And we did the leap 1 and leap 2. Okay, that's the big business. Now we got to go back to, you know what they say, right? That one movie. If you build it, they'll come. Well, let's get Guma to build it so that everybody can come and do business. And with that, Senator Blas, do you have any questions or comments? And do your closing, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And you heard his commitment, okay? Because I was going to say, Dala and Ms. Lorena Carter gives us a $2.5 million pitch, and I'm only going to give her $1 million, okay? Hint, hint, okay? But thank you again for all of you being here. Again, I purposely did not go through what you would normally hear in an introduction as far as this bill, because I want to hear it from you, okay? If we can somehow just package this whole thing and make sure that all of our colleagues get a copy of the transcript for today's public hearing, it's there. The reasons and the purpose, okay, and for why this bill is important will be there. You know, there were a couple things that you mentioned there that we have to, I have to emphasize and provide. First off, you know, when you're talking about businesses, okay? Tony, you said this right. You know, Guam is very difficult. Not just to start up a business, but to sustain it. Let's be honest. Right now, economies of scale makes it a lot of times very difficult, not just to start up, but to continue to sustain. You know, Marvin, you know, I had a conversation about how to be able to expand your businesses and what you want to be able to do. You know, when you go to social media, like you said, when you have your own platform or you go to other social media platforms and you see Guma-trained, Guma-associated businesses, you know, who are selling their wares in other parts of the world. Okay, Tony, I remember when you were, you know, in San Diego, okay, and being able, Marvin, about moving to, you know, expanding your businesses in Las Vegas. What other program do we have available today anywhere in the world that's going to be able to give you that opportunity? Okay? And a lot of times in taking advantage of that opportunity, you have to recognize the risk. But if you've got not just the training and the mentorship and the guidance, but now the seed money that's necessary to be able to do this, because Tony, you're right. Not to take anything away from the financial institutions today, but if you were to take most of your business plans and you tried to provide it without any Guma training, your business, your loan application is going to be rejected right off the bat. It takes vision, foresight, and basically commitment to be able to do this, and that's what this program is going to be able to provide. You know, to allay the concerns and the fears, and as far as whether or where this money is going to be going to, I'm very confident because there's already an established program, an established route, if you will, for lack of a better term, that you have already with Gita. So if you do look at the bill, it does say that, okay? Matter of fact, it says, you know, in the administration that Gita, Guam Economic Development Authority, shall continue to assist Guma in the administration of the funds. It's there. I decided, I didn't think it was necessary for me to expand on that language because it already exists. Okay? If the wheel's not broken, don't fix it. Okay? Don't put more air in a tire that it needs, more than it needs. Okay? Or you'll blow it out. So I'm very confident in a lot of this. You know, I guess one of my confidence too is because, and I got to share with this thing, you know, I've served with Cliff and Monica and Lorraine in other nonprofit endeavors. In other endeavors, you know, that not in one of our endeavors, nonprofits, we don't even rely on government subsidies. Okay? With a mission and a purpose. Okay? That's always been there. So I have that same confidence that we had then with this. Return of investment, I can put this bill up and this program up with any other measure that is probably going to be looking at the same funding source, okay, and say, okay, what's going to be the return on investment in your program as opposed to this? I know that it's there. Because, you know, when I was sitting there looking at the math and everything, 25,000 here, 50K there, 475. While the money was given, we talk about the return of investment. Okay, and a lot of time the return of investment is determined by hard cash. But you know what it's also been able to provide? Okay? It's been able to provide an awareness for other things. Okay? Marvin, okay? For God's sake, you know, you're Finadeni de Nancy, okay? You know what it's provided? It's provided people who are other places, okay? Who first off don't know where Guam's at, but loves the Finadeni de Nancy. Okay? I want to know where we'll be able to do this. And while they're looking at the Finadeni de Nancy, they're going to be looking at his dolls and his shirts. Okay? And then her paintings. So a lot of times when we look at return of investment, we also got to look at not just the direct, but the indirect, okay, ROIs that occur here. And that's what I'm looking at. Okay. I know that this funding, when provided, is going to be able to provide an opportunity for other people to grow and expand. Okay. But it also, more so, it gives us that step up in the competition that's necessary. That's why I'm in full support of this. And I'm glad, and you know, I appreciate this bill will not be a better bill, or it would not pass the scrutiny if it wasn't as scrutinized as much as it's going to be. But I'm confident in this. I'm confident because already not just your return on investment, but your track record and what it stands for. Okay? This is the epitome of what Mel and her programs and Gita, okay, actually provide. And, you know, guys, just so you know how this, you know where the convincing factor was with me and Monica, where Monica convinced me? It's at the Valley of the Lati when we were crossing, I don't know, Monica, if you remember this, when we were crossing over from where the animal zoo was at to that trail that goes to where people eat. Okay? That's when I said, okay, I'm going to, because what she did, on the way there, we had to stop by and buy Mungie Pops and cookies. Okay? Okay, yeah, okay, and all of that. You know, pura Guma. Okay? And so, I'm very proud of this. And I'm just the catalyst. You're the ones who make the program very successful. And I appreciate right now, and as far as the sentiments of my colleagues here, that it's going to get the support it's going to get. Okay? And the commitment from the chair that we're going to be looking at something a little bit more so that it can be more sustainable. Okay? Because, never mind, don't look at how much you got. Look at how much you were worth. Okay? That's the value in this. That's why I've got all the confidence in the world. Okay. I don't have any questions because you've answered it all, quite honestly. And I want to thank you for being here. And Mr. Chair, I just want to note for the record that you know, as we continue, I'm getting text messages from my office. You got another letter of support in your email. You got another letter of support in your email. So thank you. And you know, these letters of support for people who really, truly appreciate not just the kind of, not the mentorship that they got, but the camaraderie and the assistance they continue to get to be able to do this. That's what makes us very unique. Okay? Okay? Unique. So with that, Mr. Chair, thank you very, very much. I hope to see that we will move this quickly, passage in this thing, so it doesn't get muddied up in other priorities, if you will. Okay? And I promise Senator Kanata I will make him a co-sponsor. Okay? Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Blas. Senator Kanata, you wanted to do one shout out?
Yes, I just wanted to give a shout out to Marvin's wife because, you know, if he didn't have his wife, he wouldn't be as successful as he is today. You know, just give her a kudos.
I agree, Senator.
That's good, I just want to make sure. So, and then I also want to give a shout out to my One of my newest friends out there in the community, Gabe, we met at Home Depot, and he was trying to talk about his new business and has challenges, and I'm very happy to see him here today because that means he's going to be a part of the Guma family, and we're going to have more investments for our island, our community, and our people. And I know that he significantly invests not only in his business, but his own employee and staff. I know he doesn't pay minimum wage, which I really hate. So I'm very happy that he's an investor of his own staff and his own community. So thank you guys again for all your hard work.
Thank you, Senator Garza. And with that, there being no one else to present testimony on this bill, this hearing is now concluded. I want to thank everyone for attending this hearing and providing feedback and suggestion. And yes, it'll be more than $1 million, Cliff. You can bet on that. I'm the chair. I will make the amendment. Okay, bill number 80-37, COR public hearing is now adjourned. The time now is, let me confirm the time here, just 10:55. Jesus Marcy. And we'll now take a 5-minute recess and then get ready for the next bill, because I know Dr. Swanson's here for the Simon Sanchez bill. Thank you. Good morning. And the Committee on General Government Operations and Appropriations, call back to order. We will now proceed on to Bill 110-37. And this bill was sponsored by the Committee on Maritime Transportation, Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens by request of the Congressman Manobin Guam and the Guam Youth Congress in accordance with 2 Guam Code Annotated Section 7102. An act to add a new Section 24414 to Article 4, Chapter 24, Title 11, Guam Code Annotated, add a new Section 58110.1 to Article 1, Chapter 58, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, and amend Section 58203, Article 2, Chapter 58, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to implementing property tax abatement incentive to promote the implementation of green roof and requiring percentage of roofing areas for green roofs, certain qualifying certificate, and hotel developments. There was a physical note request on May 3rd, received on May 15, 2023. Reminder, the general rule still applies to this bill and the next bill. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that are here. I have Senator Roy Canata, who will be reading the opening statement of Senator Amanda Shelton. And then we have 2 members on the panel from GIDA, Mel Mendiola, and Kayan To. Okay, from Guam Youth Congress. And with that, I'd ask Senator Canata to go ahead and read the opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the public hearing on Bill 110-37 LS and for the opportunity to introduce such a measure, which is offered by the request of the 34th Guam Youth Congress. Bill number 110-37 LS is an act to add to the new subsection 24414 to Article 4, Chapter 24, Title 11, Guam Code Annotated, and add a new subsection 58110.1 to Article 1, Chapter 58, to implementing property tax abatement incentives to promote implementation of green roofs and requiring a percentage of roofing areas for green roofs for certain qualifying certificates and hotel developments. Mr. Chair, if adopted, Bill 110 authorizes a one-time 100% property tax abatement for properties on which the commercial or residential building sits and where 50% or more of the building's rooftop areas are includes a green roof vegetation-covered roofing. According to the U.S. EPA, a green roof or a rooftop garden is defined as a vegetative layer grown on a rooftop. Green roofs provide shade, remove heat from the air, and reduce temperatures on roof surfaces and the surrounding air. Using green roofs in cities or other built environments with limited vegetation can moderate the heat on the island effect, particularly during the day. Green roof temperatures can be 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit lower than those conventional roofs and can reduce citywide temperatures. Bill 110 requires the building owners to provide with certain claim abatement, a certificate of square footage of the vegetation covered roof, and to be provided by the Department of Public Works. Mr. Chair, the Department of Public Works is certifying that the square footage of a vegetation covered roof shall make such a decision within the following parameters. The green roof shall be composed of several layers with living vegetation as the uppermost layer. 2, the green roof shall not compromise the structural integrity of the roof or building of which it is installed on. Mr. Chairman, as the drafted proposal by the 34th Guam Youth Congress, a functional solar photovoltaic system which provides for a building's energy needs as determined by the Guam Power Authority and certified by the Department of Public Works shall be considered a vegetation covered roof. Mr. Chair, consistent with the bill's objective to encourage green roofs, the measure also proposes the government of Guam to require developers of qualifying certificate or QC program, specifically those involved in construction or expansion of hotel facilities, to ensure 75% of the rooftop area of any hotel development consists of vegetation-covered roofs. For reference, Mr. Chair, the QC program authorizes each developer a tax rebate exemption and an abatement in an amount of equal to 10% of their total construction costs, including a 50% BPT exemption for 20 years, as long as the tax credits are available at the point they are taken a 75% income tax rebate for 20 years, a 100% real property tax abatement for 10 years, and a 100% use tax exemption to be claimed within 1 year of its issuance of the facility's occupancy permit. Mr. Chair, I applaud the 34th Youth Congress for their work on Bill 110 and recognizing my work on climate action legislation. As the author of Public Law 35-46, which adjusted the renewable portfolio standards for timelines originally established in April of 2008 through Public Law 29-62, I believe that Bill 110 is another way we, as an island community, can take tangible steps towards meeting our preliminary renewables portfolio standard goal of 100% of net electricity sales by December 31st, 2045. Bill 110 may very well encourage more of GPA's 51,000 ratepayers to consider adopting clean and sustainable energy systems, including green rooftops. Mr. Chair, Bill 110 is helping our families deal with the volatility of the oil market and the impact of energy costs. Recognizing GPA's cost per kilowatt continues on an upward trend, increasing from 10.7 cents per kilowatt hour in 2021 to 30.7 cents per kilowatt in 2022. In the fiscal year 22, 67 cents from every dollar GPA has collected from ratepayers, 315,771,100 left from Guam for the form of fuel purchases. GPA revised annual report and citizen-centric report of FY22 screen. Oh, I think that means it's attached. It's highlighted in blue, sorry. Mr. Chair, acknowledging our collective goal of transitioning from costly and harmful energy sources to environmentally insensible alternatives. Bill 110 is another small important step forward. With that, I look forward to your discussion, to working with our colleagues to include any amendments that they may see needed for Bill 110 and 37 through a legislative process. Sizuas Masi. Again, this is not my bill. This is Senator Shelton's. Unfortunately, she's not able to attend today's public hearing and speak on this. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Canata. I will begin with the Guam Youth Congress representative and then followed by Ms. Mendiola. Sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman San Agustin, Senator Canata. My name is Kainto, and I represent Father Duenas Memorial School in the 34th Guam Youth Congress. I'm here today on behalf of Speaker Lily Vinch, the Speaker of the 34th Guam Youth Congress, and Representative Paz, the author of this bill. They have provided testimony, and I will read them before you today. The first testimony is Speaker Vinch. My name is Lily Vinch, and I am a representative in the 34th Guam Youth Congress, hoping to make the youth's voice heard on the island we will lead one day. Today, I am testifying in support of Bill number 110-37. This bill was our first introduced bill of our Guam Youth Congress term and passed through our body, discussing the strengths this measure could provide. It is evident that our environment is bearing the burden of growth our island and world faces. We are no longer at the point where we can save this issue for later and need decisive action now to embrace eco-friendly solutions that seamlessly integrate into our lives without adding unnecessary burdens. Bill number 110-37 aims to pave the way for the development of green roof infrastructure with a powerful incentive, a one-time property tax rebate. Green roofs represent a beacon of hope for Guam, offering a pathway towards a sustainable future by installing a green lifestyle that can effortlessly blend with our existing infrastructure. They provide a means to embrace new sustainable practices without encroaching on additional land or consuming more space because the rooftops are already there. By championing the passage of this bill through our Guam Youth Congress, we are not merely endorsing green roofs. We are championing a transformative solution that not only begins to tackle environmental challenges, but also stimulates economic growth and enhances the well-being of our island community. Now more than ever, we stand at a critical juncture where the solutions we implement must resonate with the people and inspire people to partake. Bill number 110-37 represents a pivotal step towards a greener, more sustainable island by offering a compelling one-time property tax rebate to incentivize and empower individuals to join the green movement. By passing this bill through our Guam Youth Congress body of members, the benefits of green roofs were not quiet. The integration of green roofs into urban environments offer a multifaceted solution that not only addresses environmental challenges, but also fosters economic growth and can help improve the health of our island. By recognizing and harnessing the full range of benefits associated with the green roofs, communities can create sustainable and resilient urban landscapes for the next generations to come. The loss of potential tax revenues was discussed on the floor of our session. Though this was a possibility, the benefits are a step we need to take for our future. In this time more than ever, it is crucial to provide solutions people want to be a part of. Bill number 110-37 is one step closer to a greener island with a one-time property tax rebate to push those to help. Together, let us harness the full potential of green roofs to create resilient, sustainable urban landscapes that will stand the test of time. The time for action is now, and the future of Guam depends on the choices we make today. For the betterment of Guam, please help to pass Bill number 110-37. To reiterate, that was Speaker Lily Vinch from the Guam Youth Congress testimony. And the next one is the author of the bill, Nathan Paz. My name is Nathan Paz, and I am a representative of GIGO for the 34th Guam Youth Congress. I currently serve as the chairperson for the Committee on Environment, Utilities, and Transportation, and recently graduated from the University of Guam with a BS in Biology. I am writing to express my strong support of Bill 110-37, also known as the Green Roofs Act, which has the potential to enhance both environmental sustainability and resilience of our island. Bill 110-37 was first introduced as Bill 1-34 with the intention of promoting green roofs, promoting the development of green roof infrastructure with the incentive of a one-time property tax rebate. Green roofs are a type of sustainable infrastructure that consists of vegetation and are also referred to as rooftop gardens. Under this current bill's writing, rooftop solar panels have also been included under the definition of green roofs. This type of sustainable infrastructure has already been promoted and developed in other major cities such as Seoul, Portland, and Hong Kong. Although there were concerns voiced in the youth body regarding the loss of potential tax revenue, I emphasized the potential soft or indirect benefits to this project. Green roofs are known to have many environmental, social, and economic benefits. By covering rooftops with vegetation, we can reduce air pollution, limit harmful greenhouse gases, and mitigate the urban heat island effect. The presence of greenery reduces the effect of hot temperatures in the surrounding areas. This not only leads to lower energy bills, but residents and business owners, but can also reduce the strain on our power grid. Additional benefits include the potential for community gardens and the creation of green spaces tailored for a native species, which is especially important as we face increased environmental threats due to climate change, wildlife population decline, and habitat loss. Our island is known as a popular tourist destination, and implementing this project would improve our urban aesthetics similar to the solar-powered streetlights and local murals on the Tumon Strip. I also point out that Bill 110-37 complements Senator Perez's Bill 1-37 nicely, relative to excluding the value added to buildings from the installation of photovoltaic solar panels and roof tiles for purposes of levying real estate taxes, which then became Guam Public Law 37-11, showing that this legislature has shown previous support for sustainable infrastructure on our rooftops. In conclusion, Bill 110-37 is a forward-thinking proposal that, if passed, would bring numerous benefits to Guam. As we pursue different initiatives into developing a greener, sustainable Guam, I hope that you all can support this measure. Thank you, Senators, for your time, and please do not hesitate to contact myself or Guam Youth Congress with any questions. To reiterate, that was Nathan Paz's testimony, who is the author of this bill. Thank you for having me today, and if you have any questions, please direct them to the bill's sponsor, Representative Nathan Paz, or the Speaker, Lily Vinch. Suzus Masi.
Thank you. Ms. Mendiola?
Okay. Hafa and good morning. My name is Mel Mendiola. I'm the administrator of the Guam Economic Development Authority, and I came to testify in support of this bill, of Bill 110, with some language improvements, modifications, suggestions. I think it needs a little bit of work, and so I'm here to kind of bring those items to light. GIDA does recognize the positive impacts of green roofs, including carbon offsets. Green roofs are aesthetically pleasing. They increase food security. They reduce ambient heat. And they provide a potential form of ecotourism. In a previous life, I worked for a not-for-profit called Farm to Table Guam, and we worked with the Hyatt Hotel, who was looking at growing herbs on their roof and then using those herbs at al dente. I mean, they really incorporated a lot of that into their planning. So many investors today are very interested in ways to, number one, they're interested in their bottom line. And if this reduces their power bill, then this is something that our investors would be very interested in doing. I did want to point out in the language of the bill, where it starts talking about QC, Section 5, 58203. So the first thing I wanted to clarify here was that the qualifying certificate program covers a myriad of industries, all governed under GCA Chapter 58. And so referencing special hotel QC, this only affects applicants of our QC, our special hotel QC program. And I bring that to your attention because there are instances where an investor may come in and wish to build a building of some kind, and perhaps this could be negotiated into the QC contract. So the example I'll give is the Guam Brewery Company. Or no, actually the most recent example I'll give is Don Don Donkey, which was approved by our board but did not move, or it has not come out yet of the approval of the AG's office and subsequent approval. But let's assume that Don Don Donkey goes through all the steps. They're getting, the only tax benefit they're getting is an abatement on property taxes. That's the only benefit they're getting. Don Don would not be required to install a green roof under this current legislation, although they have a lot of square footage of roofing space that I would imagine they could they could utilize. So if that's the intent of the writer of the legislation, of the author of the legislation, I would suggest that instead, in the QC law, I believe it is Section 12 GCA Chapter 58, Section 58110, condition of benefits, it says, the language says, in its recommendation of specific tax benefits, the authority shall consider the following as possible terms and conditions, meaning GIDA would then tell the investor, as a condition of receiving this benefit, you shall install a green roof and it shall look like this. I think that looks a lot cleaner language-wise to do that, and I would recommend, then that way what happens is, if you have a development that says our roofing space isn't super feasible for a green roof, however, these are the ways that we're trying to reduce heat. This is where we're putting our solar panels. They're not on the roof. They're on the amphitheater under where the hula dancers and where we do our barbecue, like the one that PIC had, right? Then you're a little bit more flexible. So as adding is eliminating it from where it states in the law, or what it states in the bill, section A and B, so page 4, starting line section 5, and instead substituting 58110 condition of benefits for the regular QCs. And then further, if the intent is to affect our hotel developments, then you can do the same in our special hotel QC, which is in a separate section. So I can send those, I can provide that recommended language to the committee so that it could be, I think that would be better, more, like I said, more elegant in the passage of this legislation, to say that it's a condition of benefit, not a condition of application. Because the other sort of awkward thing about about the language here with the special hotel QC is usually you don't install a green roof until after you're built and the permit is given, whereas the QC is usually in the pre-construction. The QC is granted in the pre-construction stage. So we can't give a QC, if we can't give a QC until they get their occupancy permit, that would really not be workable for our special hotel QC, which is usually given at the start, because one of the benefits is use tax, where they land big furniture and things like that and they don't pay a use tax. That's one of the benefits of the special hotel QC. So that's my suggestion with regard to the qualifying certificate section of this legislation. Otherwise, just some items that we note at GITA are that the price of, we like the fact that there's the solar panel discussion in there, so it's not only a green roof, but also if you put solar panels, that's also good. I think that there should be some discussion with DRT about property taxes, because, I mean, I'll give my own personal example. I once got a quote for solar panels pre-COVID, but the quote I received for solar panels to put on my roof was $50,000, but my property tax is like $600 a year. And so if it's a one-time benefit of $600 for me to spend $50,000 to a green roof, you know, I think maybe we can, if the body has the appetite, maybe the body could be a little more closer to match the input to the output, you know, because the cost of a green roof, green roofs are not cheap to install. You're talking about a minimum of $25 a square foot, because you have the soil amendments, you have the, Guam wouldn't work with wood for the raised beds. They're gonna have to go with a little bit more innovative materials so that it doesn't warp with the heat and the rain and all of that, right? You're also talking about drainage on your roof. So green roofs can be a little bit expensive, and by contrast, our property taxes in Guam are very low relative to the rest of the United States and territories, okay? And so given that, I think that to really incentivize people to put in these green roofs, we really got to look at the incentive we're giving them. So if we look, if our youth Congress members say property taxes times, you know, 3 years or something like that, I think that would be, I would love to see that being explored as well. So that's just my 2 cents on the math of the front side of the bill, which has nothing to do with GITA, which is the tax credit. Although I'm also not aware of DPW administering any tax credit programs. I know that the only one right now outside of GITA, I believe, is managed by the Department of Labor, which is the GRAP program. So this would be a new function for the DPW office as well. So that's worth considering from an operational standpoint.
All right, thank you. Senator Canada, do you have any questions for the panel?
I don't have any questions. Certainly, I do have a little bit of reservations regarding DPW not being here today, also with DRT. But I'm certain that we'll get some kind of feedback from them, hopefully, that can adjust our little reservations. But I just wanted to echo my support to the Youth Congress. Senator Shelton and I are both Youth Congress alumni. So it's very great to see that the Youth Congress is, as well as Director Mel Mendiola is also an alumni.
1997?
I was just born the year after. So, you know, I'm very excited to see the Youth Congress taking initiatives and trying to find solutions for our island and our next generation. So, you know, I just wanted to give you guys a shout out, and very happy to see that you guys are participating in the legislative process. We got to get more people out here to participate as well. But thank you, Kayan, because I know you're always, you're working around in all the legislative process. I know you're currently with Senator Tina, but I just want to give you kudos for all your public service and hard work that you do for our people on our island.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Grant. When did the Youth Congress start? You know what year? No, when did the Youth Congress begin? No. When did Youth Congress begin, the establishment of the Youth Congress? I'm just curious if you knew the answer to that. The only reason why, because I don't remember seeing that. I used to work at the legislature, and there was no Youth Congress back then. Only because everybody's saying they're all part of the Youth Congress. Yeah, not review my age, but anyway, going back to the bill, I'm in support. Anything to do with solar, go for it. I'm good with that. I wish they could put it in every GovGuam agency other than the hotels. Let's just deal with it, because until they reduce the cost of the power bill, we need to figure something out. It's getting costly. All right? And with that, there's no one else to testify on this bill. This hearing is now concluded. I want to thank everyone for attending this hearing and providing feedback and suggestions. Bill 110-37 LS public hearing is now adjourned. The time now is 11:30. And with that, Sizu Smasi. Thank you. Now we will now proceed into the next bill. And I ask Dr. Swanson to please come forward. And then with this bill is bill number 321-37, introduced by Senator Roy Canata, co-sponsored by myself, Senator Joe Snogsteen, Senator Chris Barnett, Senator Amanda Shelton, Senator Tom Fisher, Senator Will Parkinson, Senator Dwayne St. Nicholas, Senator Vice Speaker Tina Rosemary Barton, and Justice Juan. I think that's a sufficient number to pass this bill. An act to appropriate the sum of $7 million to the Guam Department of Education from the unappropriated and encumbered excess 2024 general fund revenues to cover costs associated with the rebuilding of the SANCHEZ High School campus and the leasing of a temporary campus. Physical note was requested, received on July 8th, 2024, disseminate to all the senators on July 19. And with that, Senator Canata, your opening statement for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hafni and good morning, colleagues. I mean, only Senator Snogsteen here, but as the chairman of Committee on Simon Sanchez High School, it is my honor to introduce Bill 321-37 LS, along with the co-sponsors of my colleagues. It's very much a well-intended bill, and I'm very happy to have numerous sponsors. As you stated earlier, Senator Snogsteen, you're one of the sponsors, Senator Barnett, Senator Shelton, Senator Fisher, Senator Parkinson, Senator St. Nicholas, Senator Tina Munoz Barnes, Senator Jesse Lohan. I'd like to thank the Appropriation Chair and his committee for his swift hearing on today's bill. Bill 321-37 is a critical piece of legislation aimed at addressing the urgent needs of Simon A. Sanchez High School and ensuring that the continuation of quality of education for our students in the North. The proposed bill intends to appropriate $7 million from the unappropriated unencumbered excess revenues of FY 2024 general fund revenues to the Guam Department of Education. These funds will support the reconstruction of Simon A. Sanchez High School campus and cover the costs associated with leasing a temporary campus. This comprehensive appropriation will ensure we meet our obligations from leasing a temporary facility to securing a construction manager and providing essential supplies for infrastructure developments. Our goal is clear: to provide a safe and conducive learning facility and environment for our students while we rebuild the permanent campus for our Sharks that will meet the modern educational standards. Your insights and support for testimony on Bill 321-37 is vital for us to move this forward. Thank you for your participation and commitment to the future of our children. And Biba Halu, I just want to note for the record, it's my 10-year reunion this past summer, so we really got to push this school to get rebuilt, and I'm very thankful for the superintendent for being here, and I'm very hopeful for his testimony. Thank you.
Dr. Swanson, your testimony, sir, for the bill.
Good morning, Senators. I'll be brief. In short, we support the legislation and understand the need. The upfront cost, regardless of whichever project FEMA goes with, there's going to be a percentage we have to cover, and this bill should adequately handle that process. My experience last year with other funds that were appropriated for our benefit, though, is I would ask if there's some way that we can lock and secure the money so that it can only go to this particular project. I don't want to have another repeat of the issues that we had around time from Marwar. The primary use of upfront costs is critical, and it will be at least at the $5 million level, given the estimates we have so far, but we're still gathering data on that. I would appreciate the ability to be able to reuse if any balance that's left be dedicated to equipping and outfitting the new school so that we have no gaps. That's pretty much my testimony. Yes, we're absolutely in support of it, and we understand that at this point in the fiscal year, we don't have the funding available at GDOE to do this and meet the other expenses that we're obligated for through the rest of this fiscal year. So this would be a big help.
All right, thank you, Dr. Swanson. Yes, and we'll make the appropriate amendments to it. And, you know, the fund is specifically to cover the 10% that FEMA normally would ask or needs to cover. So with that, and if the funds are not exhausted, then we'll put it on the bill that it will remain for the purpose on the use during the building and construction of Simon Sanchez.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
All right, and with that, thank you for supporting the bill. And then, you know, I'm from Jigo, so I'm 100% for Simon Sanchez.
Okay, well, we're all pointing in the same direction on this.
All right, thank you, sir. Senator Canata, do you have anything you wanted to bring up or ask comments?
No, Mr. Chair, just look forward to the passage of this legislation. Again, I think I have enough co-sponsors to pass. I think we just need one more vote to override the governor if she vetoes the bill, but I doubt she's going to veto it. So I'm very, I think my connection with Adelup is going to get this passed, and I'll make sure that it doesn't get touched for any other purpose and only for the Sharks' home. So thank you again, Superintendent, for coming down here today. I look forward to the passage of this legislation and getting it in your hands so that we can execute further operations for the Sharks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There being no one else to present testimony in this bill, this hearing is now concluded. I want to thank everyone, Senator Dr. Swans, for being here and providing feedback and suggestion. Bill 321-37 LS public hearing is now adjourned. The time now is 11:36. Jesus Marcy. Thank you.